decisions are made, issues that are important to the public, the rights and responsibility of citizens. So that's the, So that is what civics is. So organizing. Organizing is people coming together to collectively create the change they want to achieve. This is a lot about what we've been talking about already, but it is people joining together to work towards a common goal. That is organizing. That is what we are looking to achieve. Is when we have this conversation, me and Rania, about what the civic, about what these town halls are going to look like, I was getting ahead of myself, as I often do, and I wanted to start over here. And then Rania reminded me that we needed to start at step one, which is learning how to organize. That is the basis of everything. That is how we see things change. And at the end of this slideshow, I'm going to show you where organizing has won certain battles. So what do organizers do? Because I want you guys all to become organizers. Organizers identify, recruit, and develop leadership. They build community around leadership, and they build power out of community. Challenge people to act on behalf of shared values and interests. They develop the relationships, understanding, and action that enable people to gain new understanding of their interests, new resources, and new capacity to use these resources on behalf of their interests. Organizers work through dialogue in relationships, interpretation, and action carried out as a campaign. What this looks like is, how many people here have spoken to me directly one-on-one? Actually, you're a perfect example. What did I have you do? No, Amma Abbasi. What did I have you do?
You wanted me to get others involved. One of the things.
But I had you come in and we sat down for like a
minute.
Yeah. It starts with a one-on-one conversation. You have to build a relationship. And look, now you're here, right? So you have to build a relationship. You have to have conversation. And then hopefully with me having conversations with you, you then learn how to have those conversations with others, and you ask others to have those same conversations with you. And then eventually what happens is this group of people starts having the conversations I'm having with you with your own groups of people, and you start organizing your own groups of people. And then that's how it just takes off. That's how it flourishes, that's how it thrives. But it has to start with the relationship and finding common ground. So the building blocks of organizing is one-on-one conversations, issue identification, building power, and organizing for the community. Sorry. So we can go to the next slide. Goals of a one-on-one conversation are to assess where people stand and how they feel. So you have to ask questions. Find people's passion, what it is that they care about. Identify potential leaders and activists. Develop relationships. Identify social and community connections. So with you, I'm going to use you as an example again. We realize that you're dialed into a community that I have no access to. You're tapped in with a lot of the people who are in the masjid and in the male community. And that is, and of your generation. Those are people who, who I have less access to than you do. So I would need your help to be able to get in front of them, and I would need you to organize them. And then get the commitment, and then set up a follow-up plan, and build solidarity, power, collect, and analyze data. So we're doing all this in real time right now. This is why we asked for the survey. This is why I'm going to have you fill out another survey. We're going to share resources with you so that you can have information. But in the survey, we're finding out what the community wants. We're finding out,
The app shares, and the brother here, some of them share what I have also.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's true. But, and it takes everyone. So that's, because then, because because you know what ends up happening? I'm glad you brought that up, because you know what ends up happening? You guys start talking about the town hall that you went to and how great it was, and how much fun you had, and how great you felt after. And then what happens? Everyone starts getting jealous and they want to do it too. Because the three of you came out with the coolest kids in the block, and we're like, we just have this great town hall PACC, and we're gonna go next month, we're gonna go the month after that, and you guys should come too, because it's fun. And we're gonna do something great, and we're gonna do it together, because we can do hard things.
It's next meeting, our generation will take over.
That's what I want. Go ahead, Barry.
So the attest to the idea of one-on-one conversations. So also, aside from my role here, I'm also at Montclair State as the SJP president there. And the number one thing that I was doing was just having one-on-one conversations with professors, with administrators, with other students, with other student leaders. And that's what ended up leading to getting a BBS resolution in our student government. It wasn't because I was only going to the MSA and telling them about something every Jum'ah. It was because I was going into the student government's office every single day and asking them what do they have for lunch.
Yeah.
That's literally how it went. And because of that process of me just getting to know them and them getting to know me and then becoming comfortable with each other, it was very easy for me to just give them this resolution and be like, hey, you're gonna pass this. And they're like, okay, very good, what do we want? that's how it can happen.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing now with you in Woodland Park, because now that you're building a relationship with these people, they're gonna become more comfortable with you. And it'll become a process that you guys will be bouncing stuff off of each other. And it goes like that on any level, whatever it may be.
You have to build relationships.
Sorry, to add on to Barry's point, you don't have, like, I go to NJIT, and if you know NJIT, you know how they deal with things. You don't have to get comfortable with them, but we just established NJIT on NJIT, and the whole board of trustees know that we're there.
Yeah.
So they don't have to get comfortable with you, they just need to know that you're there and you're willing to do whatever it gets.
Yeah. And it's easier to do that with people. But what this looks like, and this is what the work was on my national campaign, is we were given a list of people, we had to call these people, we had to invite everybody to coffee or lunch with us. Every single person we spoke to on the phone, the goal was, our number one goal, the numbers that we needed to hit, our quota was how many people could I get to have coffee with me? That was step one. And then all those people that had coffee with me, how many people could I get to do this with me? You guys see how I kind of just did it too? How many people can I get to do this with me, right? And then from these meetings, it was, okay, great. Now, how many people in this room am I gonna get to actually take action with me now? And through that, and then like, oh, and now you've seen me do this so many times, you've heard me like a broken record. You're gonna invite people to your house. And you're gonna have this conversation with them there. And then what happens is it's like, hey, we have this resolution that we're trying to pass or we're trying to block. I'm gonna call everyone in this room. You guys are gonna call everyone in your rooms. They're gonna call everyone in their rooms. And do you see how that changes things? And how that expands? And what are we doing? We're building relationships with our community. Like, mashallah, that's great. Like, we're building relationships with each other so that we're not relying on these institutions, we're relying on each other. That's the shift that we're trying to make. So, issue identifying, a checklist for deciding on an issue, a good organizing issue selection, evaluate the organizing issue, and get the ball rolling. So, for some people, they mentioned ceasefire here, and as part of the community needs assessment, one of the things that I know that eventually I want to work towards is divestment. And the way that we're going to be able to work towards divestment is by knowing what it is the community needs, which is why, again, we're asking everybody what the community needs, because if we're able to say you're spending 15% of your budget on municipal bonds in whatever town that you're in, and it's a bad investment anyways, and we want to have, we want to invest in our schools, our arts programs in the schools, we want to invest in drug counseling in our community, we want to invest, we would rather take that money and put it towards this. So then what happens there? It's no longer the Palestinian community. It's everybody who wants a better education system in their school. It's everybody who wants, right? So then it's not just subject to our identity and who we are. And it's no longer race politics. It's, you're making a bad decision as an elected official with the way that we spend our money. We want you to spend the money this way. There's nothing scarier to these people than us being informed and talking to each other. So that's where the issue identification comes into. So when you're having these one-on-one conversations, we need to be finding out what it is we're all most passionate about. I mean, I think right now we all know what we're most passionate about. It's Philistine as a whole, like as a majority, I think, you know. And the way, and we do have power there, here. I say this all the time, we're in the heart of the empire, and New Jersey and New York is the belly of the beast. Like, it is the main artery that is holding this whole thing together. It's the schools in the Northeast that do the research. It's where they recruit their talent in these schools. This is where they build their power. We have several arsenals here in New Jersey. New Jersey is a very small state. There's an Israeli and New Jersey commission that economically ties us to Israel. And again, it's just about reallocating the money into things that are actually going to help the community. So if we want, that's how we can start to, when we're having these conversations, ask questions on like, what do you want to see happen in your town, so that we're not just saying, stop this, we're saying, do this instead. We have an end goal here. We have a full plan, not half a plan, not a quarter of a plan. We are organized, and we know all the steps we want you to take, and you work for us. Remember that. They all work for you. And it is what happened, sometimes you gotta manage up. And you gotta remind them. The grassroots organizing groups sit at the center of the ecosystem because they play a critical role in building a base within the communities most impacted by inequities. And they directly engage those communities. Engage those communities in addressing those inequities. Power is built with and by communities, not for communities. They are built with and by the communities. So that's the building blocks of organizing. You can go to the next slide. Organizing in community support, developing allies, we're doing really good time, I'm proud of myself. Developing allies in community should be a priority for every association. Community groups, parent organizations, religious leaders, politicians, and others are more likely to stand with us if we have identified issues and mutual concern, and if we have a history of working together. So one of the things that I want to do is PACC has a citizenship program, and this area specifically, this is part of identifying issues. Clifton has a huge immigrant community that could probably benefit from PACC's citizenship program, because it's not subject to just Palestinians. Anyone who needs citizenship can come to the community center in Clifton and take our citizenship program. There are also other organizations that are run by the immigrant community and the Latinx community that deal with financial help. And I'm sure a lot of us can benefit from learning how to better allocate our own money, our own funds, right? Especially if we're talking about retirement, because this is my quick little plug here. Anyone who's in a corporate company that is invested in a retirement fund, odds are you're invested in the same bonds and the same stocks that we're trying to get people to divest from. So it's really important that we look at our retirement and how our retirement is being invested in as well, and how we can reshift those investments into a different market and grow that market instead, and grow our own wealth through a market that we want to empower, not the ones that are actively harming us. So it's really important that at some point, that's a whole other conversation, is retirement, but like, by building that coalition, by building that relationship, it changes it from just being the Palestinian American Community Center and to Cluster community, Passaic County community, Patterson community, by sharing our resources with one another. And then I'm gonna go to the next slide. So these are not all, honestly. These are some of the major organizations that the Palestinian American Community Center, PACC, is already currently organizing them. So you heard me mention NAC several times. NAC is the National Network of Arab American Communities. I was lucky enough to be invested in, to be able to go to the advocacy days on Capitol Hill in DC, where NAC had different people, different organization leaders come from all over, and we held 55 different meetings with different offices and congressional offices and Senate offices. So we met with different leaders and we spoke to them about MENA, which is making sure that they have strong oversight in the way that they implement the census, so that every governmental document after 2029, politics is slow, after 2029, every time we go to a doctor's office, anytime we go to fill out any kind of government document, it's gonna include our Middle Eastern, North African, or it's gonna have Palestinian, it's gonna have Haitian, it's gonna have all the different ethnicity groups, so that this way we can start identifying our community members, and then through identifying our community members, we can also find out like, where do we need more research and how? Like where do we need to, because everyone's genetic makeup is different as well, so like how are we taking care of our health concerns in the community? If we don't have that data, because we're not being counted, and then we don't even get, this is the crazy thing that I learned, is because we're counted as white, we don't even get counted as a minority. So we don't even get the same kind of opportunities that minority groups get, even though we are a minority. So that's why that's important. And then we have the VRA. The VRA is the Voting Rights Act. So that's like what we were talking about in the beginning, protecting our rights to vote, codifying it in the state of New Jersey. We are working with the ACLU on that. And then you have OPRA. OPRA is the Open Records Request Act. So that is to make sure that we are protecting our rights to request open records from the government officials. So like I said, with like IRA, we're trying to find out how many people testified in favor and opposition of. And the reason that we're trying to find that out is so that we can generate activity around it. Because if we know that we outnumber them 3-1, then that's newsworthy. And then we can start putting more attention on it and having bigger outlets speak and amplify our voice, so that we can make sure that we protect our freedom of speech. That is of the utmost importance on a local level right now. And then the Equity and Inclusion Act. Equity and Inclusion Act is not what it sounds like. It's actually the opposite of equity and inclusion. This would make it so that anyone who is not documented wouldn't be counted in their region, in their district. So then that would take away resources. It would actually lessen the budget for the town, which would then also take money out of our school systems as well. So it's not helpful. So a lot of the times, a lot of these officials just read the title and they're not even really reading the bill. So which is why we have these things called lobby days, which is what we did in DC, and what we're doing at PACC as well, is we're having conversations with these elected officials so that we can make sure that they're reading these bills and they're paying attention to these things as they come across their desk. We're saying we as a community want this, we don't want this. And then the USPCR, I got to go to the opposite end of the spectrum in Minneapolis, which was focused on the investment and campaign building. So that was a lot of conversation around direct action. Like I got to meet the people who stopped traffic at the Bay Bridge. We got to talk to people who are part of the Mass South Marski campaign, which is taking a lot of traction now. So USPCR was primarily focused on like that building direct actions, protests, blockades, and divestment as a whole. I think that where PACC is in the community centers, we're somewhere in the middle. We're focusing on all of the tactics, all of the tools. we're using our electoral political system, and we're also encouraging people to take the direct action that they feel most aligned to as well. And we're organizing around continuing to do two things. It's damage their reputation of the Zionist lobby, and it's organizing around, messing with their money. That's the two ways to make an impact. It's reputation and money, and that goes for anything that you're really trying to organize around. And then we also work with the New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice. They help provide resources and people power. So if we say that we help each other basically with people in shifting energy into certain movements. That's coalition building. Then we have care helps with legal action. AMP helps with grassroots organizing. ACE, we're very, very excited for. It's our leadership development program that we have that we're building. It starts in September, so if you know anyone between the ages of 16 and 20, that application is also live on the resource document that everyone's gonna get to scan at the end of this. Please share that application out with anyone. We would love to work with the youth. We'll be closing the application on August 29th. The point of the ACE leadership program is to help the youth get mentorship, direct mentorship, to help them build their skills around entering the workforce, to help them to build their skills around leadership as a whole. And then ICPC connects to religious leaders, which is incredibly important because we see how many people are in those communities and how elected officials will specifically target them as well. So we want to keep engaging with our religious leaders so that they can keep influencing their sphere of influence as well. And then the relationships with officials, so network building and decision making. So we had a meeting here with Assemblywoman Allison, who represents Clifton in our district, and then we had a meeting with Gordon Johnson, who it was part of a committee that was voting on the IRA bill. We also had a meeting with Mayor Marencio, who helped us to, who told us other relationships that we would make progress with as well. So we've been having these meetings, and we're going to continue to have these meetings so that we can continue to build relationships, so that when we're having these forums, we can bring back the information that we're gathering to them. The other thing that we've been doing is building a county by county database, so that anytime anybody signs up for our phone tree, which is also on here, and there's a direct action. So for example, the Baptist doesn't know this, next week you're calling everybody in Scutari's district, and you're telling them to have a meeting with us. So anyone in District 22, there's 12 of them so far, is going to get a phone call, and we're going to ask them to call the people in their district, and we're going to ask them to tell Scutari to take a meeting with us. Because we haven't met with him yet, and he hasn't met with AMP yet, and I'm not sure if he's met with Carrie yet, but that's a little problematic because we have a huge demographic here in the state, so you should be meeting with some other Americans. We'll go to the next one. How you can help. So one of the things that we're asking people to do is to apply to become a poll worker. So if you are bilingual, if you speak Arabic and English, the application is live on, that's also a link in the resource guide. The application is live on our website. You have to fill it out, and then you have to email them and CC me so that I can make sure and push your application. So we're asking people to apply to become poll workers for the next upcoming election, so that there's language access and protection at the polls. Help us find people for ACE, empower yourselves. We have a meet and greet coming up on September 9th with the superintendent of the Patterson School District. We're also going to be holding a poll demonstration as well that right now I believe is to be confirmed on September 12th from 11 to 2. So if you have anyone in your community or in your that is not a voter and has never voted and is intimidated by going to the voting booth, bring them here. We'll show them a demo on how to use the machine. We're going to do and then the legal action town hall, that'll be on September 15th, inshallah. We're just going to lock that down as well. Youth town hall is August 15th. It varies for anyone in middle school. So middle school, high school age, he's going to be having the same conversation with them around organizing and finding out more so about their experience in day-to-day life in school. It's also going to be a small group, but next Thursday. And then the ways to volunteers is September's right around the corner, and we do need to make sure that regardless of how we feel about who's up for election, we need to be voting. So I'm gonna ask them to knock doors, make phone calls, help get people registered voters. So if you already go to the masjid, please let me set you up with some voter registration forms and help people get registered to vote that you know aren't voters. Take notes at town hall meetings, so going to any of the town hall meetings that are in your town, take notes, share those notes with us, let's peer share with one another, so that we can all learn about the local governing bodies. So when those questions do come up about hey, is this somebody that we want to support? They're running for office. Actually, they were in my city council and they were against everything that we tried to push through, right? Having that information and that data long term is going to continue to help us organize, because these are not short-term goals. This is not a sprint, this is a marathon, which is why I said 4 hours a month, which is minimal. It's not a heavy lift, and it's just about staying consistent, right? Working out every day, eating healthy, political health on a regular basis, and then join a committee. Try to find a committee that you can join in the town that so that we can continue to stay in communication and engage with one another. Donate, talk to Adam before you leave tonight on all the resources in the resource stock. He is our resource king. He's worked more with the resource stock than anyone else. There's a feedback form, so please make sure you fill out the feedback form for tonight, please be critical, because I don't get better unless you tell me how I can be better. So make sure that you're critical in the feedback form. Tell me what I did great too, so that I keep doing it as well. And just keep coming. Can we show the resource document before everybody leaves? We'll do that. Oh, is it 8:02? Wow. Oh my God, I'm almost going to these are the bills that we were talking about in the beginning. So this is the Passaic County specific scroll down. The voter information is statewide. Then you have your state legislator, the NJ state budget, PACC advocacy toolkit has a lot of great resources. Check out the advocacy guide. We have the roadmap to politics, which just gives you a basic 101 on civics. This is where you can research where different brands to boycott. This is a resource hub from the New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice. So they have a bunch of different things on organizing as well. This is how we can start learning about divestment on municipal bonds, learn about divestment, events that we have coming up. If you join the ongoing metro area events, that's a document that's led by a statewide chat. Basically, somebody has taken the responsibility of putting up every action that's happening in the metro area. So if you're ever looking to join a protest, if you're looking to go to any kind of event like this too, that's going to be on there. And then these are the PACC upcoming events that we spoke about. And then on the very bottom is the application to become a poll worker, the 8th internship, and then the feedback form or volunteer form. The national survey that I want everybody in this room to take, please try to take it. Please try to get the whole time. Please try to do my survey and their survey within the next 2 to 3, 5 days. And then tell us your story so that we can continue building our narrative. That's it. Go back to the slide. Thank you for asking. I QR code everything. Go to the last slide, please. Go to thank you. Oh, I forgot the part where we went, but we ran out of time. There are places where divestment has made progress, so we'll cover that next time. But if you scan this QR code, that lovely sheet with all the resources and information is at your fingertips. Yeah.
That one website that you mentioned about the ballot and
Valsovia. Valsovia, it's not the best for local. I need to find something better. That's why I say, one of the resources links is how to find your sample ballot. The best thing you can do is download a sample ballot and then look at the county website and get information on the local elected officials that you have.
Can I just, I have to say that Ballotopia actually works well sometimes. You just want to get an overall glean of the different positions of the politicians.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not the best, but
Right.
overall, I think that you're right.
it does help with policy,
Yeah.
you're right about that. It does help understanding policy to the front. Right? All right, thank you guys so much. Please scan the QR code, please sign up to volunteer, please. Do our feedback form and our survey.